Hi, I'm Carcina. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. Welcome. Don't forget to hit the like button coming through the door. Subscribe to the page if you're new here. Hit that notification bell so you can receive all notifications. Now, let's get to this. There's so much frivolous lawsuits being filed, in my opinion. This is my personal opinion based on actual statements. First of all, a woman has filed charges against Diddy, Druski, Jaguar, Wright, Odell Beckham Jr., and Big CC. The charges were too ridiculous to ever be even mentioned for me to read and do a whole video wasting your time reading these charges. It just shames me that a law firm would take this case seriously, that they would go ahead and file all this paperwork to try to go at it in a court of law. And all of these Tony Busby lawyers, right, who have been wasting your time with this nonsense over and over, each day, they're on this Tony Busby train, right? They've turned themselves into law and crime. And they're trying to illustrate to you, because they want to push an agenda, that Tony Busby's a good guy, Diddy's a bad guy. And now the people who they were crusading for is being included in the lawsuit with Diddy. Now this looks kind of strange now. Now this looks kind of crazy. How did this happen? Well, during this time, the person said these events took place. Jaguar Wright, who's been going out making these statements, exposing the industry, right? Since she's been doing this, it's come with a lot of backlash because the way she was doing it. And then they accuse her of being involved in the process with Diddy in 2018, around this time when this was allegedly happening. Jaguar Wright was in jail, if not the mental institution, one or the other. She wasn't even around. Druski was named in a ridiculous lawsuit, doing a ridiculous act based off stuff they saw off social media. Druski was never around Diddy in 2018. If you want to know why are they famous, he's the why are they famous guy. Like, where did he come from and why is he famous? That's the biggest question anybody in the world should be asking. Why the hell is this guy Druski even mentioned? Why is he even famous? Big CC, right? Was he even the bodyguard for Diddy at this time? Was he even working with Diddy? Odell Beckham Jr. don't hang with Diddy like that. So the fact that Odell Beckham Jr. was there, it's a rarity in 2018. So if they have this wrong, what else they got wrong? Why would you believe anything else that's in that lawsuit? Then you got to look at the person that filed it. You got to look at the law firm that filed it. Then you got to start scratching your head and say, well, damn, if this is a lie about Diddy, it's a lie about Jag, Druski, CC, and Odell Beckham. What, we supposed to believe it if it's Diddy? No, it's all a lie. In my opinion, 100% a lie. All of it. Now, if you guys are calling it and scoring it right, you got to start looking at all the evidence in all of these frivolous cases that you've seen, right? Or are we going to just Tony Busby is the greatest all day? You see, the double standard factor comes into play a lot when we're seeing it play out in this fashion. A lot of people got a lot to answer for. A lot. There's a lot of things that came up and down the pipe that a lot of people are not, that I don't even know how they sleep with themselves with some of the things that they've actually said to just run with a narrative that just don't make any sense. I can't run with a narrative that makes no sense in my world, because it's not that it's suppressing something, but if something just ain't right, I ain't riding with it. I don't know when it became cool to throw a black man under the bus, and they made that the ideal way to go. To other black men want to do it like it's all right. Oh, Kevin Liles is friends with Diddy. Kevin Liles' lawsuit does not mention Diddy. Has nothing to do with Sean Puffy Combs. But he said that ain't the Sean Puffy Combs he know when they brought up Diddy case. Yeah, they asked him. He said that's not the Sean Combs that he knows. So what does that have to do with it? That has nothing to do with the case that this woman filed against him. It's always open season on a black executive. Why is nobody pointing this out? All these so-called crusaders of the truth. Because it's BS. As long as they're getting paid on their algorithms and they stay in the search engines because they're spreading frivolous lies and disinformation, it's cool. Meanwhile, no evidence had been presented that to us, the general public, that would suggest Sean Puffy Combs did any of these things. The evidence that's been turned over was enough to make the prosecution feel that the case should be thrown out. The Fed case. This is a civil case that makes no sense whatsoever. It's built out of fantasy and hearsay from what they gotten on social media, in my opinion. And this is why you got to be careful with the people you hang around and the things that they do. Now, there was a guy in the industry who was doing crazy things in Hollywood, right? Crazy things. And everybody knew. And nobody went after him. Still to this day, nobody went after him. You know why? Because he's white. So, when you want to say you want to get real, oh, they were like, who is that person? I'll let you know on the Patreon if I didn't already. They have their boys club. They have people that they want to succeed, that they put in charge. But long as it's white, it's all right. And that's sad. You conflicted yourself for a color rather than morals. So now it's easy. Let's throw Jay-Z under the bus. Let's throw this person under the bus. Well, we know he dated Aaliyah when he was this age. Aaliyah was dating a lot of adults. A lot. Since she was 15. If you knew Aaliyah, you would know Aaliyah didn't carry herself as a 15-year-old girl. Not excusing it, but her parents played a large part in the way Aaliyah was carrying herself. They trained her to be like that since she was on Star Search. They trained her how to be with older people and how to be around older men. Groomed her to be in that fashion. She was an 11, 12-year-old girl talking like she was 25. They act like they were upset she was with R. Kelly and they were in a relationship. If it was going to hurt the daughter's chances, then they would be upset. Like, make them look bad. Other than that, they didn't care. They cared about that money. And it's sad that that was the case. And that person lost their life. And it wasn't because of Dame Dash. It wasn't because of a DJ who wouldn't let her get on the plane with him and nothing of that nature. It wasn't because she was drugged and put on the plane and a sacrifice. It was none of that craziness that you heard from these conspiracy theorists. She demanded that they carry more luggage. The pilot was suspended and cheap and coked out of his mind and shouldn't have been in the plane. That was a failure of the airlines that allowed him to fly that plane. Her persistence on carrying all of the equipment when the guy told him, even in his coked out state, drugged out mind, that this is too much weight for the plane. He knew that was too much weight and said, we can't carry all this. We should leave some of this behind. She wanted to get it all done now. No, you're carrying everything now. We'll pay you extra. So they paid extra to put all that weight on the plane. And the price was their life. All of them. So to play with people's pain by coming up with crazy conspiracy theories, because we feed off that energy. Black folks love a good conspiracy theory. They don't like the truth so much when you tell them, like, that's just what happened. There is no more to tell. I'm sorry. They no. There's something, because there was something in a song. She had somebody chasing her. They need that. And these people know it. So they feed it to you. They say, oh, they need some stories. Okay, well, I'm going to tell them how I really think that the CIA was chasing them because they wanted to try to lock up R. Kelly. And to lock up R. Kelly, they needed a lid. So the CIA was found. They create this stuff in their minds and they spew it out their mouth. What is a Druski? Druski is my boy Andrew Brown. That was his name. He the first Druski I knew. I don't know who this guy is and what he do and how he became famous. He just hang around famous people. That's all I see. But like he said, in 2018, he came out and made a statement. He said, I was broke living in my mama's house. I didn't know anybody famous in 2018. Now he's invited to all these events. And you're wondering why? Like, what is it that this guy do? Big CC, another guy who I don't believe his stories. A lot of stuff he says. He sat down with Kwame Brown and I listened to that. A lot of stuff he said, I didn't believe at all. Especially when he said a line that didn't make no sense to me. When he was talking to Kwame, he said, yeah, this girl said, I think something's wrong with this drink. Like, something might be in this drink because I feel a little woozy. And then he's like, yeah, then so I tasted it. I'm like, who would taste your bodyguard? If somebody said they feeling a little woozy, they think something's in the drink. They feel a little funny. Why would you drink it? And you're the bodyguard. That don't make any sense. So what, both of y'all gonna be woozy? Like, what was the purpose of you drinking it? You see, these kind of stories, people have to ask themselves these questions. They don't. They're so captivated by what's being said that their brain isn't thinking. Your brain, you shut off your brain to think because you're just listening and taking it at face value. So that makes me question his intelligence as a bodyguard. Where does that even make sense for a bodyguard to do in any scenario? Then the majority of his story is about him not really doing his job, but reporting on, other things that's there. And then some of the stuff he's saying, I don't even think he was there when it was going down. And if he was, I don't think it went down the way he said it because it's too detailed and it's too much information. I mean, too much noise and music for you to even hear what's going on. And he has clear, detailed stories of what was said, this and that. And I'm like, I've been in that club. You can't hear anybody unless they whispering in your ear. That's how loud it is. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, like, if he was bodyguarding at that place is loud. You won't be able to hear hardly nothing unless somebody's talking directly in your ear. You're only going to hear the music. So, unless they soundproof the place, it was a break in the action. I don't know, but that some of them Busta Rhymes stories sounds like so far-fetched, bro. So far-fetched. And then I'm like, if that's foul and that's askew, if this is askew, what do I believe? It's hard to believe any of this stuff, man. It really truly is. People have their own agendas. They all move in a certain way, and they want you to conform. Now, it's up to you what you're going to choose to do, but I'd rather be one that's on the side of, I think this is fair. I think this is the way it should go. I want to be on a fair side rather than the side that's promoting fear and disinformation and misinformation. That's all I'm saying. With all this, I'm crusading for the truth. That's some bigger bullshit if I've ever heard in my life. Ain't no damn crusading for the truth. You just pass an agenda along. I don't have no allegiance to Sean Diddy Combs. But I know bullshit when I hear it. And I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, this black man, everybody jumping on Diddy, so let's get on Diddy. And when you look at the case, you're like, oh, wait a minute. If you ain't looking at the Diddy case and thinking that this thing is crazy and it ain't making no sense and it's outside forces got something to do with this, then you've lost your mind and your identity and you're part of the problem and not the solution. In my opinion, solely based on what all has been provided, Sean Diddy Combs did not force anybody to do anything they didn't want to do themselves. All of these people who are untrustworthy, unreliable to be on a stand is being allowed to come up here and spew lies. Same thing they did to Cosby. Do you know why Cosby is at home now and not in jail? Because they got it reversed. But the guy who was pursuing him was running for office. So he used that as his election bid. I'm going to lock up Bill Cosby. And got a judge to go along with his plan. They went ahead and locked Bill Cosby up on a case that's been dismissed over and over again. Because one is so far outdated. Then they took a bunch of people that never was supposed to testify. They never was supposed to be on a stand to give their character eyewitness crap. They were never supposed to do that. So the judge was in violation. But they was like, well, we got what we wanted. We locked Cosby up. We had locked him up. Yeah. He's finished. Cosby has got so much money, he doesn't even need to make anything else. He was going to do a comedic comeback and everything with the Hello Friend and everything else, and they came after him. All because he tried to buy NBC for the second time. No conspiracy theory. They killed his son. It was a hit. They faked like the car was broken down. He stopped to help. It was a hit. The girl who he met, it's all a setup. Cosby, no. His son is buried on the property of the house. His only son was taken from him because he wanted to buy NBC. We all know that. To think it was just a coincidence that those guys was just up there and it went down the way it did. And he was the only one to lose his life. And right where they stopped is like an area where you wouldn't park a car. Come on, man. It's not conspiracy theory. Second time around, Cosby's ready to buy NBC again. All of a sudden, all these women saying he drugged me and did all this. Then who did they get? The most uncredible people you could washed up so-called actresses who never really was nothing but, they slept with celebrities back in the day when they looked like something. Used to sleep with Sylvester Stallone and all these other people, getting tossed around, drugged up women who did nothing but drugs all day long. And they've had countless celebrities talking about giving Spanish fly. Spanish fly was like their thing that they would get. Like, yo, get the Spanish fly for the girls, get them in the mood. That they bragged about it. Hell, Charlemagne bragged about it. He's still on the Breakfast Club. He's still on iHeartRadio. They was like, oh, well, it's okay because he married her. It's like, okay. She didn't have any consent that this was going on. So that's acceptable now? All right, now changing the rules. So again, you got to start asking yourself these questions. What's really going on? How exposed are these people? Diddy's only problem is that he had a false sense of security that he was protected by the black folks and the white folks, that he was making a lot of money. He felt they had a brotherhood. He felt these are my guys. They know me. They don't care about you. Not one iota. And when this whole thing is over, everybody will soon see. Y'all don't find it strange that Jaguar Wright has turned on everybody she's worked with? When she was doing those interviews with Storm, she turned on him. Day and night, turned on him. Now this real life people turn on him. Everybody who she interviews with, she turns on. So I think she's innocent in this situation because whoever filed this lawsuit against her is clearly out of their minds. Most of the time, they're not thinking about being careful. They're thinking about themselves in the situation. That's it. That's it. So I don't want to keep you guys long because there's no need to even go through this ridiculous lawsuit. So, but yeah, lock Odell Beckham up. I'm just messing with y'all. Hey, don't forget to go to the Patreon. We got the Macho Man story on there with Steve Austin. Everybody's checking that out. They loving that right now. And I'm out the door. Happy birthday to Kwame Brown, Bust Life, and we out.